How well do you negotiate? Do you always try to find the best deal, haggle the price down to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck? Or maybe try to win every argument in your life? In this episode, we're going to talk about why you will be perfect at establishing habits to do anything and get anywhere that you want to go. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. We're going to continue on this new year with a topic that I am so familiar with, and it's called negotiation. How many of you out there that are listening negotiate on everything? Negotiate on the best deal. Maybe you're purchasing a vehicle. Maybe it's a house. Maybe it's even a small purchase where you're couponing, or you're out there and you're checking Amazon and you're checking Walmart.com or wherever you may shop. You're always looking for the best opportunity, the best deal. You are the exact person that I'm talking to in this episode, because we're going to unpack 3 similarities between negotiation and contracts and habits. First, I want to welcome all those new listeners out there. Welcome to the Go Be Great community. Welcome to 2025. I am excited. This year is going to be the best year yet. I can promise you that. And one of the reasons is we're going to learn how to negotiate. We're going to learn how to negotiate with ourselves in this episode so we can set habits that will in turn create behaviors that are going to propel us to wherever we want to go. So let's dig into this topic for today. First, commitment to consistency. So think of the commitment to consistency as the fine print in a contract. Who reads the fine print anyways, right? Well, that's my point. The fine print has all those terms and conditions that if you don't make a payment or don't hold up your end of the agreement, guess what? The other person's going to come take back what they loaned you, what you negotiated for, whatever that may be. So that is why it's important to go in and negotiate and read that fine print. And where I'm going with that is when we talk about habits, we're negotiating with ourselves. So when you look at the commitment that we're making when we establish or we're thinking about establishing a habit, it's that fine print. It's the terms and conditions. Maybe you want a change of pace in the current job that you're in isn't doing it for you anymore, isn't igniting that fire, your passion's not there, so you are going to go look for something else. So you've committed to yourself to brush up that resume, freshen it up a little bit, dust it off. Maybe it's been a while, but you don't really have an action plan. Maybe it's a diet, and you've committed to losing 20 pounds. So those are the conditions. What are your terms? Are you going to go for an easy 5 and then stable it out? So what are the terms of that agreement? How have you negotiated it? Are you going to reduce sweets? Are you going to stop eating at a certain time? Are you going to do smaller portion sizes? You see where I'm going with this? So we negotiate with ourselves all the time when it comes to our commitment to consistency. Remember, consistency happens over time. And time is the same for me as it is for you. So when we set a goal to achieve a certain habit, we got to have time. And time isn't 24 hours. Time isn't 48 hours. To see lasting results and to really get a habit established, research says it takes around 60 to 70 days. 2 months. That's right. 2 months for you to consistently abide by those terms and conditions before that habit now is ingrained as a behavior. So how well can you consistently show up for yourself? Because that's what we're talking about here. We change habits. Maybe it's getting up early in the morning. How can you consistently reach that goal of maybe waking up at 5 a.m.? I'm not an early riser, so that's not one of my issues or one of my negotiations that I have with myself, but definitely something, if you've committed to that, are you going to do it in 15-minute increments? Those are your terms and conditions. So when you negotiate your terms and conditions, that fine print, be very specific about what that looks like for you to make sure that you abide by the agreement, that contract that you've made with yourself. So that's number one, commitment to consistency. Number two, accountability and responsibility. So in contracts, we have clauses. We have, again, those agreements that we've made between two parties that say you are going to pay X amount in return for this object, this car, this house, whatever that looks like. So how does that relate to habits? We hold ourselves accountable to the habit that we want to establish. How do we do that? Maybe it's, hey, I'm going to go work out for 30 minutes and then I get 15 minutes of vegging out time, scrolling social media. Or maybe it's, hey, I'm going to freshen up. I'm going to work on my resume, single task, freshen that up. And then after that, I'm going to go apply for 5 jobs. Whatever that looks like, it is important for us to be accountable to ourselves and then responsible to achieve those actions. So when we talk about responsibility, those are things that are going to help motivate us to continue on achieving whatever habit that we want to establish. That motivation, it has a time frame. So remember, whenever that motivation is running out, what's the next thing that you can hold yourself accountable to get going? Rewards, very important part of responsibility and accountability when we're contracting with ourselves. It's like that dangling carrot in front of us that we're always trying to get to. And when we do get to it, reward yourself. Maybe it's, hey, you've lost 5 pounds and now you get a cheat day. Or you've achieved a running goal or a time that you've been working towards and you go buy a new pair of shoes or you get that new running watch that you've always wanted. Maybe it's something along the lines of school and you've got that report halfway completed. You've written the introduction and you're into the body of the paper and you take a break. Maybe go out with some friends, have a little bit of downtime. Whatever that reward looks like, it's going to continue that motivation. So you're holding yourself accountable and being responsible to not just rewarding yourself and then going down that slippery slope, but getting back on track and continuing on down that road. Just like the clauses in a contract hold two parties accountable and responsible, you're holding yourself accountable and responsible. So make sure that when you negotiate that with yourself, you're very clear. I like to focus on output goals here, not necessarily outcome goals, because those outputs are going to get you to the outcome. Hey everyone, John here. I wanted to jump on and quickly talk about my Kickstart the New Year Challenge. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you got a lot of irons in the fire and you're not really progressing, you're not getting anywhere, maybe you feel lost. I know I did. And over the past decade, I have been working on a coaching program to help myself, and now I want to give it to you. Head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, sign up. You're not going to want to miss it. You owe it to yourself to kickstart the new year. Get going now. Don't wait till January 1 when everybody else is going. Get ahead of the game. You owe it to yourself. Go be great. And last but not least, we're going to look at long-term benefits and consequences. So in a contract, there are long-term benefits if you go the term of your contract. Most mortgages are 15, 20, 30-year notes. At the end of that term, what do? You get the house free and clear. You still got to pay taxes. You still got to pay insurance. But now you own a home. Same thing with the vehicle. Maybe you have a 60-month loan, or maybe you just do a 2-year lease. At the end of that term, what happens? You either return the car or now you own that particular car. So think of those long-term benefits and then the consequences. If you miss a payment, what happens? You get a ding on your credit history, or they'll come repossess the car. There are consequences to not keeping the commitment long-term to ourselves. So where does negotiation fit into this? When we are negotiating with ourselves that long-term benefit, maybe it's reducing our weight so that way we achieve other health benefits through lower cholesterol, lower blood sugar. Maybe we're fitting into those pair of jeans that we haven't fit into in 10 years. Whatever that long-term benefit looks like, how are you negotiating with yourself? What are the terms of your contract to achieve that long-term benefit? And then what's the consequences if you miss a payment, if you miss a week? Here in the Go Be Great community, our mantra is go before you're ready and then don't miss 2 days in a row. That is my long-term commitment to myself to make sure that I may have one bad day, just don't have 2 bad days, because the consequence after 2 bad days in a row means 3 bad days in a row. And then I'm like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Then it's 4 bad days in a row, and 4 bad days in a row turn into a week, and then a week turns into a month, and then pretty soon, there goes the habit. There goes the change. So going back to how well we negotiate those long-term benefits, keeping that carrot in front of us to make sure that when we achieve the terms of our negotiation, of our agreement with ourselves, we're going to get that carrot. And then establish some consequences to that. So maybe you're trying to save money this year, not spend money on silly things like clothes or shoes or hats. I'm not wearing a hat today, but I love hats. So that's my vice. So one of the long-term benefits is, I want to reach X number of dollars in my savings account. The consequence to that is I'm not going to go buy hats. I'm not going to go buy maybe that fancy new shiny object, whatever it is that I've always wanted. I'm going to go ahead and drive my 197,000 mile car because it's paid off. I don't want an additional car payment. You see where I'm going here? How well we negotiate with ourselves all boils down to how consistent we're going to be with our habits. So let's talk about those 3 things that you're going to negotiate with yourself to create those habits that are going to last the test of time. 1, what is your commitment to consistency? Negotiate with yourself those fine print items that you're going to keep a commitment and it will make you consistent. Number 2, how are you going to hold yourself accountable and responsible to, again, the clauses within that contract? How well do you negotiate those clauses to get the best deal, to get the most benefit out of the habit? And then last but not least, the long-term benefits and the consequences. So where is that end goal? What does it look like? And then what's the consequences to you not achieving those milestones, not achieving those steps, not paying that rent for that 1 month to get there? If you master negotiating those 3 things with yourself, habits will come easier, they will be ingrained, they will turn into behaviors, and pretty soon, you're going to create that new version of yourself that you've always wanted. Trust me. I believe in you. I hope this helps somebody out there. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great.